Welcome to Out of Continues, episode 152, a weekly podcast posted up every Monday on outofcontinues.com as an MP3, in which we talk about video games and related topics. And it goes up on youtube.com/outofcontinues as a video a few days beforehand. I'm your host, Stafa, if this is the first time that you're listening or watching the show. And usually I have different guest hosts on with me each week. This week I have Kevin returning, who is no longer just a circle and a face.
Hello.
And we have the ghost of Ali Past coming back.
Why am I the ghost of
Because
Ali?
you haven't been here like forever.
But wouldn't I be the ghost of Ali present?
No, the ghost of Ali Past.
No, because he's present.
Because you've come back from the past.
I've come back from the past, even
Yes. So anyways, we have Ali and Kevin on with me this week. And this week's episode segments will include what have we been playing. After that, I have several announcements. Our main topic will be game revivals. I'll go more in depth on what that means once we get to it. And then we have some news topics to top things off. So anyways, what have we been playing? Ali, since you haven't been on the show in a while, it's been a minute.
Well, thank you for remembering.
Hey, I asked you every week, pretty much.
No, never mind. Thank you for remembering me, though.
Yes. So anyways,
I played Remember Me.
remember me?
Yeah, Remember Me.
Remember me? Man, I'm gonna
I don't
be reusing all the jokes I used 2 weeks ago because we talked about Remember Me 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
Me remember me.
Who played
remember
that?
me you doing the jokes.
Who played that?
Samantha.
Oh. Man, I feel like a rehash then. I'll switch it up then.
Okay.
I'll switch it up.
All right.
I'll go to Pix the Cat.
Pix the cat.
Pix the Cat. It's a new game.
What is Pix the cat?
It is a new game.
Is it about taking pictures of a cat?
No.
Is it about putting cat pictures online?
No.
Is this like Pix as in pixel?
PIX.
Okay.
I don't think there's any story to it. Some people, I don't know if this is true. I don't remember. I remember we had Choo Choo Rocket, but it looks sort of like Choo Choo Rocket.
Yeah, the cat looks like
Do you collect things in Choo Choo Rocket?
you collect mice.
And then do you go to like points on the?
You send them to the rocket.
Okay. So it's sort of like that. You collect eggs. I don't know why a cat is collecting eggs. So you collect eggs and they become little baby chicks, and then you drop them off at little points on the map. So imagine, I guess, Choo Choo Rocket had a baby with Pac-Man Super Deluxe MD whatever edition that came out. I forget what that version of Pac-Man was called.
Hold on, I got screen share.
Just
this
for the
real quick.
record, stop. Search.
Hold on.
Pix the cat.
Hold on. We gotta slow down real quick. Let's share
This is good.
share this. I searched Pix the cat.
Mhm.
And it's
And here we go. On Google Images. I don't want to scroll any further because I did not check if there are any like other type of images, because you can never trust Google Images. But this is the initial result. Searching Pix the cat
so these are all cats that have the name Pix.
game. I still don't. This is not it.
It's probably too new.
Probably.
PS4.
It's that one right there.
This
Yeah.
one. It kind of looks like the Choo Choo Rocket cat, but not exactly. It looks a little different.
There's a picture of the grid right there.
Okay.
Oh, it's a
That's
GIF.
Yay!
So there's multiplayer. What?
It kind of resembles.
The little eggs across the map, but it gets really trippy though. as you could see by the very colorful
All right, I'm gonna
stuff
stop
going
sharing.
on. But yeah, you grab these eggs and maneuver through this environment, and it's really fun. I mean, it's difficult. I'm only on the 3rd level right now, because every time I mess up something, I restart it. Like, I gotta get this perfectly. But so you get like your level done, and then you after well, it's hard to describe. So you've got grids. Okay, you start off on a grid, and you pick up the eggs, and you drop the chicks off on the bird chicks, not women chicks. On
Had to clarify.
yes, on the little like target spots. So if you pick up all the eggs first and then drop them all off, then you get like a perfect. And then once you clear that grid, you get like this warp hole tunnel into another part. Like it's like Inception. You go deeper. Like in the instructions, it says collect eggs, drop off chicks or eggs or whatever, I don't know, something like that, and then it says go deeper. That's the 3rd
I
instruction.
don't like dropping off chicks. I like picking up chicks.
Well, good news for you. You can't pick up chicks.
That's not good news.
No, that is good news.
That's bad news.
But anyway, yeah, you just keep going. You finish a grid, and then you go deeper into the map, and then you finish that grid, and you just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. And
Yeah, I think that one of the gifts was showing that
Yeah.
it was getting
and the more combos you get, the faster it goes, and then it just gets ridiculously fast. And it really reminds me of that Pac-Man Championship. It's Championship Edition, right?
yeah,
Like Championship Edition DX or something.
DX Plus.
DX
yeah.
Plus.
Yeah, Championship
So-
Edition is the first version that came on Xbox Live Arcade, and then the newer version that came on everything was DX
Yeah.
Plus, which was even faster.
So yeah, it's like Choo Choo Rocket and that game like together, because even when you like go into parts of the grid where there's like walls next to you, if you hold like the direction that you want to turn, he'll like kind of grind against the wall, kind of like how Pac-Man does in Pac-Man Championship Edition. So it's really interesting. I mean, you get that like really intense, quick, high score type gameplay. So it's really fun. It's on PS4 and Vita. Well, I guess the
And
PS4
it's
version.
free on the PlayStation Plus this month.
Yes, it is.
Sweet.
So Kevin,
Um,
what you been playing?
nothing much really. Actually, this past week for me has
So what
been
good are you?
Nothing. I'm just gonna leave. I'm just here because you asked me to be here.
I'm just kidding. You fixed our audio problem. Unplugging and plugging back in.
I'm just so smart.
He is.
But yeah, otherwise, I mean, I haven't been playing anything really. I mean, a little bit of Sims 3 for a few minutes each day, just when I'm bored. But otherwise, yeah, no games for me this week.
All right. I've been playing a brand new release. Came out recently. It's a hit stealth game called Alien Isolation.
Oh,
No. It's another hit stealth game that's actually good called Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor.
oh man, I want that game
Is
so
that
bad.
really considered a stealth game?
There's stealth. It's also action.
A lot of action.
But I wanted to trick people and say Alien Isolation. That's why I said stealth.
Oh, so you were
He's a liar.
stealthily being.
Oh.
Remember me?
Yes. No.
So anyways, Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor is awesome.
Did
This-
you just walk into Mordor?
Yes, I just walked in, just dropped the ring,
And then,
end
But
of
one
story.
does not simply.
I simply did walk into
He simply died into Mordor.
I simply just walked into. I simply what is yeah.
One does
I
not simply
I
walk into
simply-
Mordor.
So, okay, this game is like if you take Batman the gameplay of Batman,
And Pac-Man Championship
No.
Edition DX Plus.
and Assassin's Creed.
Can we hold up for a minute? I wonder what that would be like. Just you running around a maze,
Just get faster and faster, doing
chased by-
takedowns, being chased. It's Batman. It's the Bat.
Actually, you do get pretty fast in this
I'm
game.
gonna make it so your mom doesn't recognize you.
Yo, it's the Batman. Your mom not going to recognize you after what I'm done with you. So, okay, anyways, Middle Earth, Shadow of Mordor. So you take Batman, the gameplay, like the combat and the stealth, and you take like the parkour and open world of Assassin's Creed,
Mhm.
and the like bloody backstabbing gore violence of Assassin's Creed, and mix that into the world of Middle Earth. That's what you got.
Sounds like a wonderful combination.
Yes, it is awesome. Like, this game is just really cool. If you're a fan of stealth, if you're a fan of action, if you're a fan of chopping dudes' heads off, this is a
All
game.
day, every day.
This is a game. This is definitely a good game. Like this, I am very happy to play this game because, I mean, Kevin, you know, I've been stuck in this loop
Mhm.
playing the same dumb things that I shouldn't be playing that are making me miserable, but I'm addicted to. You know.
I know.
You know, you see me.
I know.
And but I'm so happy to play this because it's really fun, it's addicting, and like I feel like I've gotten out of that loop, and now I want to play new games again.
Yeah, this is one of those games that I really, really want to play.
It's like this refreshing burst of like it's like you're in one of those hot summer days and someone takes like a spray bottle of water just and it's like, oh
No, it's like one of those spray fans. Like
yeah, there you
ones
go.
with the little LED lights on it too.
Yes, that's what it's like. It's just so refreshing, and like it's so fun too. Basically, this game just throws you right in, which is awesome because I was expecting like this 2-hour-long intro. No,
Like
like
Lord of the Rings.
like within the 10 minutes, you're in the open world. It throws you in there. Like, it's like, okay, you're this dude who looks like Ned Stark. Here's your family. Here is combat tutorial. Okay, now flash forward. Here's stealth tutorial, and everybody dies. And now you're dead but alive, and here's the open world. Go,
Is
have
it
fun.
Dead or alive.
He's actually both, I
Dead
suppose.
or alive.
No.
Boom, 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 boom,
No.
boom, 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 boom.
So he's like this dude that you're playing. You know, he's basically this ranger who is spiritually tied. He's cursed, and he's tied with this ring wraith elf dude.
Yep.
And so you mix between these two characters. So you can either become the ring wraith, and it's basically Detective Vision from Batman,
Or Eagle Vision from Assassin's Creed.
Detective Vision from Batman.
But it seems from I haven't played the game, but
Detective Vision from Batman.
they're both the same.
So you're when you're in combat, you're the dude, and you also have like these towers that they're only seen in wraith mode because they're destroyed. You know, in the regular mode, they're destroyed towers, but when you go to
They're
the wraith
ruins.
mode, they're ruins. So when you go into the wraith mode, you can see it, and you climb it up, and you basically it opens up the whole map. That side of the map.
Was this game developed in Montreal?
No.
Seems like a Montreal game.
You mean Ubisoft Montreal game like Far Cry 3?
Yeah,
It doesn't-
And Assassin's Creed, yeah, Assassin's
and
Does
Creed.
Far Cry.
just Montreal in
And
general, like
Batman does the same thing.
WB
too.
Montreal.
Wait, does Batman do
Yeah, Batman Origins, yeah.
which was
Oh, I
a
didn't
game
play
developed
that
in
one.
Montreal.
Yeah. So
and then you do the wraith dive off of it, right?
You know, the dive makes sense in this game
Because
rather
he's
than
a
Assassin's
wraith.
Creed. Yeah, because when you dive off, you are in the wraith mode, and then
he
he
just
lands on his feet, and then he turns into human. Unlike Assassin's Creed,
You jump from like a mile above into a little tiny hay pile.
and then you walk right out like, oh, that was nothing. Just brush off that hay. So it makes more sense in this game. Yeah.
You brush off the hay and then you start going up to people.
Oh, that's another difference in this game. There are humans, but there are very few humans, and they're pretty much the slaves. And it's like orcs are,
The Uruk.
Yeah, the Uruk. I don't know what's the difference between an Uruk and an orc, other than in the beginning. In the beginning, he's like, "Oh, Uruks are much worse."
They are much
worse.
Don't know other than that, but anyway,
They killed did they kill Aragorn? No, who'd they kill? That in the end of the Fellowship.
They killed
Boromir.
Boromir,
Yeah,
yeah,
Boromir.
Sean Bean.
That's right.
Ned Stark. So, anyways, yeah. What was I saying? Okay, so Uruk are everywhere, and there's some humans, and it's like, okay, you could save some. If you see them, you could kill the dude who's like slave driving them, and then they're like, oh, I have more friends over here, and then a little side mission will show up to save more. But for the most part, the whole world is pretty much filled with enemies. It's not like you're going around and like stabbing civilians and then police are chasing you.
But
so I mean, just like Batman, where pretty much everyone you see is going to be a villain of some type, or
Pretty much,
bad guy
yeah.
of some type.
And also, so far in the game, it seems like there's. It says I'm 25% into the game, but I am 50% into the story missions, the main campaign missions.
How long have you played?
I am like 9 or 10 hours in.
Okay, so it's not bad of the game.
And it says there's 20 main missions. I'm like 11 in or so, and a new map opened up just recently for me. So at first I thought the map was just really small, because you can like run from one end of the map to the other in like, I don't know, 5 minutes just guessing.
Oh wow,
which is really it's really small. But then this new map opened up, so I don't know if it's 2 maps or 3 maps. I'm not sure. So, but I mean, so far, like, the game's really fun. It's really cool. The Nemesis system makes this game amazing. Like it personalizes this game and gives you, like, rather than like these written narrative stories, it gives you like these personal gameplay stories. Like, for example, me, I have this specific experience that you guys will probably not have.
Right.
There's this one. Basically the Nemesis system has like these captains and 5 war chiefs, and so each one has like their own name, their own strengths, their own weaknesses, and you can interrogate just about any Uruk to get the identity and location of like any of the captains. But to get their weaknesses, you have to interrogate a snitch, pretty much.
Are those orcs? Are there orcs in that game?
I don't know. I don't know what's really the difference.
I would
They're all
assume
the
that there
same.
would be, because it's not going to be just
Well,
a
like,
map
Because
full of
the Uruk are usually the higher up.
they're like the
positions.
generals. Of,
Well, the thing about this game is anyone that kills you will get promoted. Like, if no name, random face, whatever, if he kills you, he will become a captain. Or if it's a captain already, he might get promoted and eventually become a war chief. So like there's this whole hierarchy, and it's just really cool because like I believe it's like a random generator making each of these I'm just gonna say orcs because it's easier to say. But these orcs.
Okay, so I guess Uruk means orc, but Uruk-hai is the higher ranking ones. They're more like humans, I think.
Like I've actually come across 2 different captains. One that I've killed like in the beginning of the game, and the one I came across later in the game, that they had the exact same first name. But like they usually have a first name and then a title, like something the slave driver, something the twin. They'll have like a name and then a title. So I came across a dude with the same first name, but I know it wasn't the same guy because it's everything about him was different.
Yeah.
And his title was different, but so I just assumed it just recycled his first name.
Yeah.
But like you get these awesome experiences, like for example, this one guy who was really tough in the very beginning of the game for me, and I had to run away from him several times because he'd like come in with his posse, and one of his strengths is that he has a gang. Like he'll whip out his horn, blow it, and then like his gang comes in, and you cannot be cocky in this game. If you get like
they all come in just like
pretty much, yes. So okay, I really want to take out this guy, and I earned this new ability to ride a Caragor, which is those big wolf mountain lion things. Like they were riding them in The Hobbit, and they also they were in the other Lord of the Rings movies as well. But so I got this ability, and I was able to get on one. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to take on this dude. I don't know his strengths or weaknesses yet, but I'm going to take him on. And I started charging at him. And the game does this cool thing where it'll like, if they see you coming, the camera will zoom in on them, and then they'll like yell something at you. It's the bat. And like the camera zoomed in on his face, and he's like, oi, he's riding a Caragor. I'm shaking in the boots. And like that hurt my feelings because I was like, oh, I thought I was cool.
Oh man.
I mean, like it's just so cool how this game will like the Nemesis system, they'll say these things at you, and they'll remember how your last encounter went.
Yeah.
If you keep on running away from the same guy, he'll straight up be like, oh, you're not going to run away this time, or whatever. And or if they kill you, they'll say something smart like, oh, I think I killed your twin brother earlier. And it's just a really fun game. I mean, there are some orcs that are just straight up BS. Like, for example, this one orc, he has like full body armor, this giant shield, and he has 5 guys with him that have giant shields. And
does he sell burger and fries?
And like, okay, you know how in you know how in Batman, when the guys with like riot shields, you have to like,
those guys.
You have to jump. You have to do the exact same thing in this game. Do the jump over, except for this, the captain, you can't do it to him because he'd be like, I know that trick, and he pushes you off.
And you do this like
the only way to hurt him is you have to build up your combo. In Batman, you build up your combo, and then once you get
move to break the shield or something.
Yeah, well,
or
like
disarm him.
You build up your combo to 8, and I mean later on there's an upgrade to shorten it to 5. But you build up your combo to 8, and then you use your execution move to damage him. So basically, you have to fight the other guys around him, and you don't use the execution move on them. You have to use your make sure you aim it towards that captain, and then you'll chip away some of his health, and then you have to continue. And like while you're doing this, he's constantly blowing his horn and bringing more and more and more dudes. And
because you got to get that combo up. That's why.
Yeah.
And the game starts slowing down because there's like 50, literally like 50 orcs in the same
You
area.
gotta get
And-
good, man.
and
Get
then-
good.
And then more captains start coming in. They're like, "Oh, I found you now!" And it's like, "I'm fighting this dude. Leave me alone." And there's literally
Getting
4 captains now. The game is starting to get slow.
Getting jumped.
And like I had to fight this guy like 5 times and like try to isolate him, but I don't want to isolate him too much because I can't damage him without building up my combo, and I had to build my combo on other dudes. So it was like this insane mess. But when I finally killed him, I just ran. I ran, and like this giant army of orcs were just chasing me like Braveheart. And then I just climbed the tower, and then
I ran so far away.
I climbed the tower, and I just looked down, like, "Where'd he go? Where'd he go?" And they're just standing there for a long time, and I'm like, "Please, I just want to get that little power up that got dropped."
Please, says.
Because when you kill a captain, that's another thing. There's somewhat of a loot drop system in this game. When you kill a captain or a war chief, there's like a rune that gets dropped by them, and it's pretty much like gems in Diablo or Torchlight or whatever. You put onto your weapons, and you have a sword, a broken sword which he uses as a dagger, and a bow. Those are the only 3 weapons you get. You don't change them, but you put those runes onto your weapons to augment them for different status effects.
Wouldn't a dagger be a better dagger than a broken sword? Or do they tie it into the story like, this was the broken sword of the Wraith?
It was the sword that broke in the beginning of the game that he was using.
Was he trying to cut off the hand of Sauron?
Just gotta let it go, man. Go.
But like, I could probably keep talking about this game for a long time, but it's just a really fun game.
Yeah.
If you have the opportunity to play it, do it. Do yourself a favor. Have some fun.
Video games and fun?
Impossible.
Impossible.
Yes. I'm not playing Magic 2015 anymore.
That's good. Or Super Monday Night Combat.
Like, if I could come up with any complaints so far, it's that there's not much variety in the missions so far. I mean, like, there's absolutely no platforming missions I've come across yet, which, like, in Assassin's Creed and Batman, there are, some platforming and puzzle type missions. I've not come across any of those yet so far. So I'm assuming, since I'm like halfway through the main story, I'm assuming that there aren't any in this game. But the Nemesis system itself is just so incredibly fun. And they just do a great job using the Batman combat and the stealth, and it works so well.
Batman combat.
I mean, from Giant Bomb, somebody wrote in some while ago. I don't know how long ago, but someone wrote in claiming that they were working in Monolith. They anonymously wrote in, and they claimed that that the game was originally supposed to be a tie-in with one of the Christopher Nolan movies, a Batman game that was a tie-in. That who knows if that's true or if that's just someone making stuff up. But if that is true, that makes sense because it is a WB game.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes sense for them to use the same system that was used
Free flowing
for another WB game. So, but I mean, it's just a really fun game. You should play it.
I definitely want it, and I will be getting it as soon as I can.
Also, don't play the PS3 or Xbox 360 versions because those don't have the Nemesis system, from what I hear.
Really?
So
yeah, They don't have the CPU
That's interesting
power
that they
for it.
take such a fundamental part out of
Well,
the
I
game.
mean,
It's like, yeah, this is a driving game, and on the previous generations you can't drive.
well, I mean, like it probably just shows, the lack of power in the last gen consoles because of the fact
Yeah,
that they need some kind of computing power to keep track of all these captains and war chiefs. Or he's riding a Caragor.
Yeah, I know.
I'm quaking in my
I mean,
boots.
you were saying like you had like 4 captains, like
Yeah.
and they were like calling a bunch of people, and
Yeah.
I mean that
They could probably
Especially-
nerf those
especially-
kinds of things, but
Yeah.
instead of taking out the entire Nemesis system, which seems to be like the primary basis of this game.
I mean, these guys are supposedly like basically like high functioning NPCs,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
just not just fodder. They,
Right.
Yeah,
They
I mean,
actually do
they will
so-
find you in the world.
So
You know.
anytime you have more NPCs, that's more specifically CPU power. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I was saying, like they could probably nerf, like how
Yeah.
many can be brought in at once, or lower the resolution or textures, or some
No,
other
no.
things to.
I mean, I'd imagine it'd probably be difficult to nerf how many would come in at once because like some of them are actively looking for you. They like I mentioned, like three of them came in while I was fighting this one because they were within the vicinity and eventually found me because they heard the horn calls and everything. So they do have specific areas that you'll find them, and some you find in specific missions, but when they're just in an area, sometimes they'll just straight up find you. I mean, like the game is just so cool right now. It just has a lot of cool presentation to it. I love going against the Uruks, who are like I think like they're set characters, set story characters. Because when you go against those, they have like this really cool like theme song thing that happens when they come in. Because first you have to go to the mission, and then it'll be like, okay, this dude, this war chief, he has a helmet with fire because he's crazy, and he's immune to fire. So to insult him, to bring him out, you have to burn 10 of his dudes, and then he'll come out and chase you.
why don't you just splash his
I was
head
about
with
to say,
water?
just take a bucket of water.
And then when you achieve this objective,
This humiliation
yeah,
objective.
yes, the humiliation objective, they'll come out and then they'll have like this theme song type thing where like the other orcs are chanting their name, like
No chance. It's
It's like-
Vince McMahon's theme as he comes back.
no. It'll be like you hear war drums, doom, 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 and they'll be like Mog, 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 and then Mog, the other twin, comes in, and he'll be like, oh, and it's just so cool. Like I just love the presentation of this game. It gets me pumped. I love it. So
Well, it's good because I mean they have a nice lore to work with. I mean, I think arguably Lord of the Rings has one of the most detailed lores in all of science fiction.
Yeah.
I mean there are some that probably get close, but I mean if you look,
heck, Tolkien invented orcs.
Well, yeah, a lot of fantasy stuff is based on his work.
and
Yeah,
I mean that's
like-
why people say Tolkienian,
Right,
When
exactly.
when it's like, oh, it's fantasy. Is it like what type of fantasy? Like
It's-
sci-fi or Tolkienian or something? So
yeah.
I mean, and his books as well. A lot of people, they thought they were boring because
Too much detail.
too much detail. But I absolutely loved that.
Same here.
And I mean, this dude, he made his own language for
Right. Well, that was the reason he made Lord of the Rings in the first place. Was he created the language, and then he wanted something to exist to use that language. So he's like, I'm just gonna write a book. So he wrote The Hobbit.
That's another thing. Like when they like say the Elvish language stuff, that's just so cool. Like when you like interrogate somebody, I haven't gotten the power to brand people yet, which is like mind control them.
Mhm.
But when you like read their minds or like drain from them, you turn into the ring wraith for a brief moment, and he'll like they're on their knees and he grabs their head and he'll be like, "Suffer me now," or he'll say something in Elvish. It's like it reminds me of when Gandalf's like, "You shall not pass." Boom, boom. Yeah. It's just it doesn't get old either. Like the game has just such good presentation.
That's awesome.
I mean, like I'm just having so much fun with it.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to play. I mean, I'm really huge on Tolkien's lore and Lord of the Rings and I mean I remember reading The Hobbit and I don't even remember how to pronounce it. Silmarillion. Silmarillion.
Yeah, I have that one too.
I read it in a little combo book, and at the back of the book, it had like all the different languages and the alphabets and how to pronounce it all.
Yeah.
So
and it's also really nice that Monolith came around and brought a good game again.
Yeah, exactly.
They're back on the map.
Yeah. I mean, they've made a lot of good games in the past.
Yeah, they did the
Fear.
Yeah,
that was
and then they like started making a few not so great games, but it's just
good.
It's
good to have a really good name tied to them now.
Yeah.
Again, I'm sorry, not now, but again. So it's really cool.
So I got a question for you guys.
Answer.
Like, in the Tolkien universe, are there female orcs?
Technically, there might be, but orcs are a very strange race because they're not natural.
Because I know in like World of Warcraft there are female orcs,
right?
And like other
universe,
there are female
orcs are creation. They originally started from
elves.
I guess from the Darkness Age or something like that.
Yeah, it was like one of the first ages where the elves were first created. But
because they were essentially created through dark power.
Mm-hmm.
So after their initial creation, they were mainly used by Saruman. Or Sauron.
They were used by Sauron. Well, the orcs were an attempt at creating an alternate to the elves originally. Mm-hmm. So like they were elves. Like the first few batches of orcs were originally elves that were tortured and mutilated.
Yeah.
I remember they mentioned that in the movie.
Yeah, and then like after that, orcs were then created by other means of magic.
Yeah,
and so like there really might. I mean, there could be female orcs, but it doesn't necessarily have to be because there's no reproduction in their system. They just are created by something.
Yeah, because like
some kind of dark.
I was
magic.
thinking that while playing this game because like all the orcs are dudes, and it just seems like. First, I was thinking, okay, like this race, of orcs, they're pretty much like this alpha-driven race. It's all about who's the most alpha.
Yeah.
Because like there's this one orc, Ratbag, who's this sniveling weasel who wants.
Who would have thought?
Like he's just this skinny little wimp, and he's like trying to boss the other orcs, but they're like Ratbag, and I'll get you for this. So I noticed, they're like this alpha-oriented race, but it's like, okay, if they're like all about who's the biggest alpha. Like, wouldn't they want some kind of a mate? Where are the women?
No, they're essentially just spawned. I mean,
yeah, they're not really.
But like, there's like two orcs. That's I can't remember their first name. Well, I can't remember the first name of one of them, but one of them is something the twin, and then there's Mog, the other twin. So it's like obviously they have the same mother because they're twins.
Yeah, I mean, it could even just be that they were considered twins because they were created from the same source, or whatever magic went into making them.
It's just these are things I think about.
So someone tried to spawn one, accidentally spawned two.
You got twins.
It's a cool game though. I love it. Definitely check it out. I mean, so far, favorite game of the year. I mean, it's not really saying much.
That's
not saying much, but
well, I mean, I think that's an easy win.
Yeah,
easily. There's nothing.
Yeah, it's been a pretty lackluster year.
In terms of AAA, it's been a pretty bad year. There are some indie games that have come out that have been, really notable. And
I think it's because everyone's just trying to get used to the paradigm change of new hardware,
new console.
Because like not only that, but like you know, anytime new consoles come out, PC development jumps as well.
Well, like I feel like a lot of as far as like the AAA studios, a lot of them wanted to get their game out last year because it was pretty much like the end of the last generation because the new generation released last year.
Yeah.
See, I feel like that. I mean, in terms of this game, like when you mentioned that there's no Nemesis system in the previous previous generation, I mean, I understand the need to have games that are available to previous generation consoles because that still is the larger market.
Yeah.
But when you're, especially in this case, when they're taking out a fundamental system,
why
would they want to spend the time and resources developing for an older system and then instead just focus that time and development towards the new consoles, the current generation, and and make it better than what it is, rather than spend the development time and the resources and the money.
The money is probably, I mean, honestly, not that much. I mean, they're using the core systems from the next gen version, obviously,
right?
And but they're
just taking the time to.
Well, they probably hope that enough people buy it on the last gen stuff that it'll kind of recoup those costs and then some.
Yeah,
I mean, because even with like Forza Horizon 2, which just came out, I don't think it's out on 360 yet, but they even have two different developers, but because
2D audience,
that's Forza 5. But like Forza Horizon 2 on 360, it doesn't have weather, but it's based off the Forza 4 engine, while Forza Horizon 2 does have weather, but and that's also based off the Forza 5 engine. So that's also, I mean, they already have like that development already there. They're just using it as a backbone and you know, reaching out to more audience. So
yeah, I mean, I can see why they do it. It just sometimes I feel like
I mean, it'll
in certain cases they should just focus on. I mean, it's something like with Ubisoft,
it'll have
one current gen game and one previous gen game at the exact same time, and they're both different games, not even the same game.
Yeah,
it's completely different game, different story, different characters, different time period, different setting.
And this isn't really the first time they did that either, because with Splinter Cell Double Agent, they made the last gen version and the new gen version. It was the same game, but
jokes on everyone. The superior version was on last gen consoles, because that one was made by the Chaos Theory, the people that make Chaos Theory.
I liked the 360 version. It was fun. It had no story though.
I really
like that. Was it felt like it. Before I found out that there was two different versions. It really felt odd because I was like, where's the story? How come this thing just happened all of a sudden?
I mean, this stuff happens every generation. I mean, the generation before that happened with Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3.
Yeah,
I mean, I remember like
the PS2 version had like people walking around.
I didn't even understand that concept, and I thought I could take I literally thought I could take my PlayStation 1 version, pop in the PS2, because I didn't know. I mean, it was like before.
You could for most games.
Though.
Well, I mean, I thought it would become the PS2 version.
Oh.
So yeah, because I was like, because I heard of the PS2 version, but I was just like, where's it at? Like I still haven't seen a copy of the PS2 version, but
let's move on.
Yeah, moving on.
All right, so let's talk about DreamHost real quick.
DreamHost,
because I got plugged something, baby. So DreamHost, their web service, they offer unlimited storage, unlimited bandwidth, user-friendly interface. They are also optimized to use content managers such as WordPress and Content5, which are both of the content managers I use on my websites. And many more features. All that just for $8.95 US a month. But it gets better. If you use
it gets better if you order now.
You'll get twice.
If you use the promo code OUTOFContinues, that is one word, no spaces, just OUTOFContinues with no spaces, it will waive the setup fee and get you a free domain registration.
Ooh.
Yeah. So let's move on to announcements real quick.
You said unlimited, right? Unlimited bandwidth?
Yes, unlimited bandwidth.
Unlimited.
Oh, you're talking about Final Fantasy Unlimited?
Yeah, the Final Fantasy. That show was really bad. Okay,
that show is so stupid. iTunes. if you want to help out the show, you can help us by leaving an iTunes review. And, that's one of the single most helpful things you can do for the show. So if you haven't left an iTunes review, please do so. It would really help us out. If you cannot leave an iTunes review because you either already left one or you have no access to iTunes or whatever reason, you can also help us out by sharing Out of Continues podcast on your Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, whatever. It would really help us out by spreading the word of the show. Another announcement I have real quick is that I decided next week, not this week, but next week, I will reduce the amount of podcasts that show up on the RSS feed, because when you have so many, it kind of starts slowing things down. So I'm going to reduce it down to the newest 100 episodes. So if you subscribe to us on, iTunes, or, if you have Double Twist or whatever app on Android and you're subscribed, only the latest 100 will show up, which, you don't want to listen to the first 52 anyways.
Actually, that doesn't
please don't. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, please don't.
A little bit of a concern. Every time when I'm subscribed to your podcast, it doesn't show the picture anymore. I don't know if you've noticed that, but like your picture on my podcast receiver just shows the title and there's no picture there anymore.
That's amazing.
So I don't know if there's something else that you have to look into. Just wanted to bring that up.
Okay. But yeah, I decided that having it this huge, incredible number is going to slow down. The recommended number is 15, but I'm just going to put it to the latest 100. You'll still be able to access all the podcasts through the website, outofcontinues.com. You can go through the archive and find them all there. But I'm just saying, just to let you guys know that the RSS feed will be shortened up. Another announcement is that tomorrow, as of this recording, so Friday, I will be recording a podcast to review the new episode of Flash and Arrow season 3. Going to be recording those tomorrow, and I'll probably be putting them up either Friday night or sometime Saturday. So that's going to be a thing that's happening. I will probably also make a new page for those too, like outofcontinues.com/TV podcasts, something like that. One other announcement, I'm going to screen share this real quick. I started up a Steam Curator page. So let me screen share. Boom. Share. All right. So I did say that I didn't feel the need to make a curator page a few podcasts ago, but I thought about it. I figured it doesn't hurt to have one. So, I put up a curator page. It's just Out of Continues. I will leave a link in the show notes, and Adam will probably tweet about it a few times this week, just so you can find it. And if you're interested in seeing what games I recommend, you can follow. I got
Marlo Briggs on there. 3
followers so far. one being me. And yeah, I got Marlo Briggs because Marlo Briggs is the man. It's a stupid game, but it's stupid fun. And look, it's full price is $5.
It's a good tagline now for games.
How can I not recommend a game that's $5 full price and it's fun? You know what I mean? It goes down to like 99 cents when it's on sale. So, but these are just 12 games or so. How many games are that? 15 games that I put up this morning. I'll probably update this maybe once a week or so, put some new games on there, games that I feel like are worth checking out. I'm not gonna put up games that I feel like are unique and should be checked out just because they're unique. I'm not gonna be one of those type of curators. If a game's worth checking out, I'll put it on here. So, and you can see there's a mix between indie and AAA. You know, like I got Shadow Mordor on there. I got Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. I got Marlow Briggs. So, you know,
yes,
it's
Marlow Briggs definitely fits into the AAA category.
Anti-Chamber. So, you know, I got a mix between the two. So let's stop the screen share. Boom. Back to us. Boom. All right. So let's get to our main topic. And that is
reviving the dead.
Yeah, game revivals. You know, kind of like Shadow of Mordor.
We should have done this for the Halloween episode.
Spooky. Oh man. So okay, what I mean by game revivals is we're gonna each of us we're going to name a game that we feel like is dead or dying, and we're going to discuss a way that we think can fix or bring back that game. And I think if keep this interesting.
So bring back as in, does it have to include sales or to make it good?
To make it good.
Okay.
To make it good. I mean, of course, you want to have it sell too. But just to make it the game relevant.
I feel like people don't buy good games though.
Yeah,
that's true.
But to keep this interesting, how about the person who names off the franchise goes last as far as explaining how they think that game can get fixed.
Okay.
What do you guys think? All right.
Sure.
So, you guys Ollie, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I'll mention this, and I was really thinking about this specifically because Drive Club came out and like a lot of people docked it, and essentially a large complaint from most people or most reviewers was like it wasn't open world and like all these like different things. What does that sound?
Sounds like a car outside.
Oh.
Yeah.
So anyway, all these different things that I'll just essentially say open world.
What game were you even talking about?
I'm getting to it. Burnout.
Okay.
And like honestly, I think Paradise is good, even though it's open world.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, obviously, like that franchise is dead because Need for Speed took it over.
Yeah.
And like the whole idea of that arcade, the really well handling arcade that's kind of like skill based and like all of the tracks in Burnout were always like, bespoke, like single. They weren't open world, they were just like really well crafted levels.
Yeah.
And you see this in other, games like Drive Club, PGR, even like Wipeout. I'll go ahead and bundle this in as well. All of these like skill-based course arcade racers.
Mm-hmm.
The only game that consistently reviews and sells well that still falls under that is Mario Kart.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at Burnout, even Blur, that came out. That was actually a really good game.
Oh man, Blur! I remember playing that
Wipeout.
a long time ago.
F-Zero is nowhere to be seen. I mean, like that whole
Sonic.
like Racing Transform. Yeah.
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 That was a good game.
Yeah, that was a really good game, and I don't think it sold well either.
No.
But I mean, it's depressing.
Yeah.
PGR. That was another one that I was really wanting to say because Drive Club really, a lot of people say it plays a lot like PGR. And PGR was, started off on Xbox, but 2, 3, and 4, they were amazing games.
Should have been PG-13.
But anyway, instead of a franchise, I guess I'll go with like that genre. It depresses me, to be honest.
Specifically on Burnout, to make it, I don't know about to make it have good sales, but to make it good again, in my eyes, I think they need to make it Burnout Revenge. Just like,
was that one 2 or 3?
That was 4.
Oh, 4. Oh. So 3 was
Takedown.
Takedown. 4 was Revenge?
No,
Okay.
it was just called Burnout Revenge.
Burnout Revenge. Okay.
It was the one on 360.
Okay.
It was only on 360. No. I think there was a version on the previous generation, but it just wasn't like it had a lot of missing gameplay features.
Mm-hmm.
But the one on 360 was boss. It was such an awesome game. It had the card checking, which was like in no other version of the game.
Mm-hmm.
No other Burnout. It's just in that.
Yeah,
in
I remember
game.
that.
And car checking was a really cool feature where if you hit a car, not one of the other racers, but one of the like NPC traffic cannon fodder dudes, if you hit one that's going the same direction as you, then
blast them
it's like kicking a soda can.
Yeah, and they bounce around like soda cans too.
And that was just really
I remember
cool.
that game was really fun. Yeah,
and like that's in my eyes that's all they gotta do to make another good Burnout. Just make Burnout Revenge, and I guess to make it sell well would probably be to use real cars like Need for Speed, because that's why Need for Speed sells well, because
but they can't do the same damage as Burnout.
They gotta just put their foot down and be like, look, we're gonna destroy your cars.
Well, that's they don't really have control over that.
Yeah, because it's part of the licenses. I mean, if you look at Forza, Gran Turismo, you look at Sims on PC, like the only cars you could really are of course people modders can make and content creators can make this stuff and break these rules, but when people actually try to sell this licensed content, they can't have those things get destroyed beyond getting
it's a shame
crumpled.
though.
It really is.
It's a shame because that's what makes the game fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, these car manufacturers and companies, they don't want to advertise the fact that their cars are being destroyed.
That their cars can crumple into tiny little pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, there are certain car companies that are.
It's not gonna crumple if they drive safe. Blame it on the players, baby.
Well, I mean, Ferrari and Mercedes have always usually, I think, been very okay, and they've been supportive of most racing games. You see a lot of Mercedes and Ferrari cars in most racing games.
Mercedes has gone out of its way to get itself into games. I mean, even the most recent thing is Mario Kart 8.
Right.
They have Mercedes and Mario Kart 8, so but yeah, I mean companies, they don't want to see their cars smashed up. So I mean, that could probably get it to sell, but at that point, that's another Need for Speed game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think going back to what you were originally talking about, the whole, skill-based arcade games, it seems like, a lot of these, other than Mario Kart, it just seems like they're trying to split off more. It's either going to be completely sim or completely arcade, and there's very little that's in between. Grid is one of the few that actually will balance it.
Yeah, and that game doesn't sell well.
Right. Well, yeah, it's a very small market, but
Grid, PGR, Drive Club's the newest edition. I mean, that Simcade, I guess, thing you'd like to call it. Even Wipeout, I'd like to consider Simcade.
Yeah.
Because it's arcadey, but the physics behind that game is more sim side, as opposed to F-Zero, which is very Twitch arcadey.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, that whole genre, you just read these reviews and it's and they're disappointing.
Yeah.
That's just to say the least. I mean, I was literally bummed. I was just like, do really people think of these franchises this genre essentially this way now?
Yeah. These genre, I guess, people have evolving views over time, and I'm not sure what really causes the changes and the shifts in paradigm and everything. But I mean, yeah, it would be cool to see a new Burnout game come out. Last one I played was, I have Paradise. I'll play that quite a bit, but I mean,
and that wasn't.
But I mean, Criterion is so focused on Need for Speed now that
they're working on their new game that they showed that stupid pre-alpha footage. at E3.
Oh, that like you could drive anything that's extreme you could use or whatever type thing.
Yep.
What was that called?
I don't know.
It didn't have a name.
Wasn't there
It
one?
was like Criterion's new project. That's
Yeah.
what it was called.
Yeah. EA is just,
Criterion's new alpha footage not representative
So-
of gameplay.
So did you get to?
No, I didn't. I mean, but I agree with you though. Like, in order to get a good game, like for specifically Burnout Takedown or not Takedown, Revenge was amazingly fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my friend Tyler and we spent maybe, I don't know,
2
50
days.
or more hours. And 50 hours is a lot for, just like a racing game.
Mm-hmm.
But like we were just like taking turns going through these levels and like doing these car checks, and they had like their crash mode and all sorts of things, and it was really fun because you try to get that max score, that top speed, and like I don't feel like there are those games these days.
Yeah, the last Burnout game was like a top-down game with lobster monsters.
Yes, yeah, there was. Wasn't that on mobile as well?
I don't know.
Probably.
most
All right.
likely.
So moving.
Sure.
All right, Kevin.
Okay, which Nintendo game should I bring up? Well,
What Nintendo game is dead, or you consider dead
well, to me,
or
I
dying?
feel that the Mario series is dying. Maybe not in sales, but in its overall.
I feel like Nintendo's
Well, like-
dying.
I mean,
So dark.
I can't like say as far as like like firsthand experience, but like as far as reviews go, Mario games have consistently had very strong reception. Like as far as both reviews and people playing the games.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, I understand that, and I
I mean,
agree
like
with that.
which Mario game is like so bad that you feel like has killed?
Well, I
the
just think it's not.
franchise?
I haven't played a Mario game in a very long time because of just the direction that it's heading, and I think that's kind of what I'm
I mean,
really,
the thing that I feel like they're killing about Mario is the titles. New Mario Brothers, new Mario
Super
Brothers
new.
Wii,
That's beyond.
new
No,
Mario
they,
Brothers Wii U,
they've done that to their hardware too.
I know the new 3DS.
Yeah, but
So
the,
stupid.
the new Wii U.
I see what you
3.
mean though. Like I wouldn't
Because
classify it as dying or dead,
right,
but I would classify it as. I mean, it needs
to be
it
revived.
needs
in a way.
it needs a jolt of something.
Yeah.
That je ne sais quoi. You know?
Yeah. Well, see,
And-
like for me, I don't understand why they continue to release these 2D side-scrolling games. And games like Super Mario 64 and Mario Galaxy, those were huge.
Yeah.
I don't see why they're so reluctant to do another 3D Mario platforming game.
Mhm.
Well,
And-
they've switched to 3D Land and 3D World, which is that I don't consider. People are like, "Well, it's a 3D Mario," and technically it is. Yes, technically it is, but
It's more of a fixed camera than
Yeah.
like what was in the previous 3D games.
Well,
Yeah.
they took the formula of the 2D get to the flagpole type of thing and put it in the 3D areas. And
Yeah, see, I think that
I liked the 64 and even Sunshine kind of that
Yeah.
exploration type.
right, and that's what I think they need to do more because I mean, if you think about it, Nintendo is one of those companies that it's like very rare that they can get by with creating the same game pretty much over and over.
Rare
and
is
over
owned by
again.
Nintendo. I mean Microsoft.
Well, you ruined the joke by messing it up.
But they're one of the few companies that no one complains when they release a game that's almost exactly alike to the previous release.
Some people don't like it when I mention that, but I do feel like it is a double standard.
Yeah,
And I don't think that they make the same games. I think they play it safe. And,
Yeah.
and because technically, they add new elements and like gameplay mechanics in their new 2D games, and they add new gameplay mechanics in their 3D games. So it puts a little spin on things, but they constantly play it safe with their game ideas.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you know, when Mario 64 came out, that was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone was, I mean, from at least from my perception, everyone loved it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't see why they wouldn't want to go back to that because, you know, that was a huge.
But wasn't Galaxy like.
Galaxy was also fairly well received from what I remember, but not nearly as exciting as, you know, Mario 64 because that was the first time anything like that had been done. But
well, I mean,
what
sold really well, if I recall correctly.
But like, I don't see like what your complaint is because like what Mario 64 did was a 3D game, a 3D platformer done well, using, you know, a camera that turned around, unlike Crash Bandicoot that had like a fixed camera. And so that was a progression in technology because what we've had for so long was 2D, and then, you know, these 3D games are new, and a lot of them are really crappy because 3D was new. What do you want now? Like a 4D game?
No,
something
I
that
just
makes
want
you
them
travel
to
to time.
Ken Kutaragi.
I just want them to.
You want Ken Kutaragi?
PlayStation 3 could do 4D.
Personally, I just want them to revisit the 3D space. I mean, like, you know, it's
beyond the platforming.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah. I mean, obviously, platforming is a crucial element of the Mario series, but
like 3D Land and World, they're really focused on platforming as opposed to
that open
like,
world,
the open world,
completing challenges and doing all these things. I think that, you know, for me, it's just that, you know, Mario games are stale now. It's like I mentioned earlier. I feel like it's pretty much the exact same thing over and over again. But, you know, people are okay with that, and they're still selling, and that's fine, and that's their business strategy. But, you know, that doesn't entice me to buy the game. I don't ever have it. The last Mario game I played was probably one of the Galaxy games. Like, I haven't touched any of the new, like, any of the 2D platforming games after that.
I have.
So I just don't.
What
feel
would you do
to
to fix it?
If we want to achieve the goal of making it more open again, which I think a lot of people will like, I know I would.
Yeah.
You know, obviously it's easier said than done, but go back to that N64 formula. It's kind of like, you know, you have Mario in a Zelda-like setting where you have this big, you know, like the first level. Like everyone remembers that feeling of going to the first level, because when you start Super Mario 64, you know, you kind of dropped into this 3D space, and, you know, it establishes that, you know, that one, you know, I forget what his name is, the camera guy, and like, oh, go through this door. And even when you enter the castle, you're like, oh, that's cool. But it's still confined because all the doors are locked. So you go into the first level, and like you see this massive area in front of you. And the first level only gives you one objective, but then after you complete it, you could start doing all these different objectives. You know, like race the Koopa up to the top of the mountain, or find all the stars, and then you had to explore that space. If you look at later 3D Marios, like 3D World or Super Mario Galaxy, they, you know, technically they do have a lot of area to work with, but they are a lot more guided. You know, I'll use the term linear. You know, Galaxy, you could, you know, go from planet to planet, but you still went from planet, got on the star, you know, spun it, and then shot to the next planet.
Right.
You know,
there's just not much variety anymore.
Yeah, in Super Mario 3D World, you explore your, you know, block space, and then you jump into a cannon, and that cannon shoots you off. It's the exact same concept that was in Galaxy, but like in 64, when you have a cannon, it's not to get you from you know, point A to point B.
So basically, you want more exploration in these worlds.
Okay. Because it gave you that wow factor, you know, and you know, when you would walk around, and like the first level, you walk past that giant chain chomp, you know, and you know, you first get into that cannon. In Super Mario 64, it's not from point A to point B; it's from point XYZ to point XYZ.
Yeah. And it was all within the same, like, like you were mentioning, like in Galaxy, you're done with that area, so you take the cannon to the next area.
Yeah.
But with 64, you're in the same area still, but just taking to a new part in that area, which you can still explore.
Yeah.
And there's just, it's bigger areas, more variety, lots of things to do and see, more excitement because there's not, it's not just the same thing over and over again. There's different types of challenges, different types of platforming.
And I'd like to, and there's always the idea of nostalgia. I mean, people might say, well, that's just nostalgia speaking. If you play that game again, it's still really good.
Yeah.
And
I keep an emulator for my X64 emulator just to keep playing that game
once
in a while.
And I mean, there are of course other Nintendo games that you could replay and they're still good. But I
Super
feel
Punch Out.
That's your opinion.
The game's awesome.
But I personally at least feel like if I try to go back to Super Mario Galaxy, I wouldn't be as interested.
Yeah.
So
with my as far as fixing or reviving the franchise, I mean, like I said, I don't think the franchise is dead yet.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't want to just use that as my cop-out answer and say pass. So, and not only that, I haven't played a Mario game since New Mario Brothers that came out on the DS, like in 2006 or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's been 8 years since I played a Mario game. But I guess my answer will be focus more on single player rather than a quadruple player.
That is a good idea because. Like my friends and I will play it, and I mean it's sure like it's fun to play with friends, but when it feels like it hinders the experience as well. Like
I think okay, there are games like Battle Block Theater or Little Big Planet in which the players are helping each other out or trying. The players are helping each other out to solve these puzzles and achieve their goals. And in Mario, the co-op they're not helping each other out. They're messing each other up.
Unless you're really good, you do mess each other up.
Yeah.
And I mean, like you could see speed runs of people like jumping on each other's heads, and my friends and I we could do that sort of thing, but after like 2 levels we start like jumping in each other's way on purpose. And like I remember one day we were playing New Super Mario Brothers Wii, and we got to the 8th world, and there's like this you're in this lava area, and you've got literally this wall of lava just coming, and you have to keep progressing through the level. And one of my friends, he had like 99 lives, and he kept on jumping in front of in everyone else's way to let me to keep jumping from platform to platform that was falling while this lava was chasing us, so we could get past that level. Because everyone else was trying to make me fall. So.
Yeah, I think what they need to do is, as far as reviving, my opinion is either focus strictly on making Mario single player again, or do it like Portal, in which there is a single player campaign and then there is a co-op campaign that are completely different, and they're both built from the ground up to focus. This one's focusing strictly on single player, and this one's focused strictly on co-op, so that the players are helping each other out rather than messing each other up.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, but you guys, I didn't even think about the whole multiplayer aspect, and I think that
is a really good point.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I think personally, I would just like to see a successor to Mario 64, like just a sequel, even if it is Super Mario 64 2. As long as it's using similar mechanics, similar mentality, just of that open world exploration, lots of different types of things to do in that game, rather than just platforming and just getting from the start to the flag. Something that adds a little bit more, because otherwise there is no point in me wanting to play every new Mario game, because if you've played even the very, very first Super Mario Brothers, you understand the basic idea of every 2D Mario game that's been out. It's collect coins so that you have lives, get from the start to the finish in a certain amount of time without dying so many times. and you're done.
I think the large world concept can work with Mario again, and I mean, this is something that I was actually excited about when the new Legend of Zelda was announced.
Yeah,
because
same.
I just felt like that for so long Nintendo has been playing it safe and kind of dealing with these very guided experiences, and you know, you've seen like every single other developer essentially try open world, so it's nice to finally see. I mean, of course, the original Legend of Zelda games were, you know, open world, but
yeah,
for a long time they haven't been, and they haven't been in that 3D ever since 3D games.
right.
So I think I'm excited to see them attempt that and to create this a more cohesive world. So I don't know.
Moving on.
Yep, moving on.
Yep.
All right. My franchise I want to pick first because I was afraid that one of you two would probably pick it because this is a really obvious one. Is Duke Nukem.
Mm-hmm.
Duke Nukem dead.
Duke Nukem's
What do you guys think would revive Duke Nukem? How would you change Duke Nukem to bring him back? You guys gotta really think about this, don't you?
Well, the thing is, I feel like Duke Nukem's time is done.
It's impossible to bring back Duke Nukem.
I feel like it. I mean,
it might be like a generation thing.
Yeah, I think because it'd be kind of deaf to the cultural aspects and differences that we have now. And like personally, like I don't think I would really care about it, you know, like care, you know, if something was sexist or if something was racist or something was just purely obscene. I probably wouldn't have an issue with it, but I feel like a lot of other people would. And I don't know. And just the gameplay itself was, I don't know.
The gameplay itself was top notch at the time.
Yeah, at the time. But the thing is, I mean, I'm trying to think how setting wise or mechanic wise.
Not really. I mean, I haven't really been a huge fan of the Duke Nukem series. I haven't really played. I mean, I don't think I've ever actually even played one all the way through. I played one for a little bit. I can't remember which one it was. It's not a series that appealed to me.
I like the 2D ones a lot better than the 3D ones.
So I mean, you guys pretty much give your answers, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So my idea, as far as if Duke Nukem would Duke Nukem if Duke Nukem were to come back, I think
I'm back, baby.
It would need a like a reboot similar to Tomb Raider or Wolfenstein, and be more serious. Like Duke Nukem himself needs to be a brand new character, like BJ Blazkowicz in the new Wolfenstein, which I need to get back to, and Shadow Mordor has like inspired me to go back to play more different games now. So I'll likely get back to Wolfenstein. But from what I played in Wolfenstein New Order so far, BJ Blazkowicz is a very serious character. But it's
still a silly game.
No, like he's not silly at all. Like,
don't they have some silly aspects of the game?
Not that I've come across so far.
Oh, okay.
Like it's from what I played so far. I mean, I'm not very far though. I'm like maybe 3 or 4 hours in, but like it's very serious, and they actually do a good job at portraying him as a serious character.
When I say silly, I mean like
I don't
obscene.
think it was his character.
I don't mean like
silly.
Funny silly. I mean like, oh, this is kind of ridiculous, like B-rate movie silly.
I think I know what you mean, but I don't think that was really in his character. I think that was more played out in the gameplay.
Yeah, that's what
because
I mean.
Like
he running around with dual
wheel. Okay. As far as like,
I also recall
as
hearing,
far as
like,
the gameplay, yeah. Well, I mean, like as far as the gameplay, it's definitely no, Rainbow Six. It is definitely an arcade like shooter.
Well, I mean, like in the beginning, doesn't he like? He was like in a coma or something like that.
Yeah, but
and then he gets up and he just starts killing people.
Yeah,
essentially that's. But
that is that's basically something that they expected to overlook.
No, I think that was intentional.
They did not like make a, they were not lighthearted about the whole thing, because like what during the cutscene where he
I don't
is in a
mean
coma,
lighthearted though. I don't mean lighthearted. I mean
he is like basically like he is watching people like tortured. He is like he's watching the world die right in front of him.
Yeah, but it's still silly in a ridiculous way.
I wouldn't use the word silly at all. Like, I mean, like the idea of him not aging, if you're talking about the idea of this guy being in a coma for 13 years and retaining his muscle mass, then yes, yes, that is silly.
Well, I'm talking about like Tarantino silly, not like just like the bloodiness. I'm talking about the bloodiness.
I don't think it's Tarantino.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Because like they really try to push that, he is watching the world die in front of him, and but that's what I'm going with is Duke Nukem needs to be, if he were to come back.
I don't see how that would fit the setting though.
What I'm saying is they cannot try to keep him in the 90s. Because he is a product of the 90s.
How would they?
They would have.
How would they modernize him?
They would have to by making him a more serious character.
How would they do that?
I think that
what I'm basically saying is you cannot use the same Duke Nukem. You have to make a new character.
You'd have to
like Lara Croft.
You'd have to reboot the whole setting though, not just the character.
Yeah, Lara Croft was rebooted,
but they didn't create a whole new character.
But they did reboot her.
But you still had the idea of raiding tombs.
I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying.
No, I do understand.
No, what I'm saying is you don't get the 90s out of Duke Nukem. He can still be this muscular blonde dude with sunglasses. Well, maybe no, get rid of the sunglasses too. But like, he'd have to be a new character. Keep the fundamentals that he is, a male.
He kills pig people. Okay.
But what I'm saying is,
I still think I have to agree with Ali on this one, because I think there's it's not just changing
the person,
because it's a whole new personality.
Well, okay,
it's a whole new character.
Now, what I'm saying as far as like changing him as a character is also changing the theme as far as like going up to a stripper and be like, "Shake it, baby." Get rid of that too.
But then is it really
make it thematically more serious?
Serious Sam.
Is it Duke Nukem?
Serious Sam.
I mean, after you change all of these things that have been known to lots of people as Duke Nukem, is it still Duke Nukem?
Well, a lot of things were changed in Wolfenstein. The one thing that
you're still thematically killing Nazis.
That's the only one constant that you're killing Nazis.
Then where is the constant in Duke Nukem?
You're killing aliens.
And so I don't know. Because it wasn't just killing aliens that made Duke Nukem.
Yeah, see, I think you have to.
It was his overtop attitude. It was the strippers. It was the pig in LAPD. No, LARD shirts, because their shirts said lard.
Well, I'm saying like if you keep all those things, that type of game doesn't fly anymore.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say.
I think Duke Nukem as a franchise, as a game, is just, it's not culturally going to work anymore. Even if you change it, then it's just going to be
if you change it,
I don't think you understand the whole point of this segment. This topic in which we're trying to revive it, but this is an exercise for us to try to come up with ways.
But then
this is okay. Okay, you know the part in Saints Row?
Just drop it. Okay. Just drop it.
Okay.
We're moving on. Just drop it. We're not going anywhere. Just drop it. Move along.
Okay.
Your turn.
For another franchise?
Yeah, you're not going anywhere, so go on.
I don't know. I can't think of one right now.
You didn't write down like 3 franchises like I told you to? All right, Kevin, your turn.
Trying to think. Yeah, I don't really. See, the problem is that, like, thinking of dying franchises. I mean, I could go back to another Nintendo series, which it could be like, Metroid, which hasn't really seen anything come up recently. But that, I could keep going with Nintendo games for a while that have just been dropped off the map.
All right, then pick one.
Metroid.
Metroid,
yeah. It kind of didn't really have like a conclusion. It just kind of stopped being
dropped off.
made. And I don't know if that was just a decision because they weren't happy with what the game was, where the game was going, or if they were just not really interested in making that type of game anymore.
I think they should make a 2D Metroid. I'm serious. I think they should make a 2D Metroid.
That's what I would say too. Make a 2D one.
A lot of people liked Prime, but I think Prime is completely, I wouldn't say completely different, but it's very different from the older Metroids. And I personally really love that whole Metroidvania style game.
Yeah.
And I think we need good side scrollers. And besides, it'd be something they could probably easily port to the 3DS or something like that. So,
yeah.
I think a 2D Metroid would be really nice.
That's what I think too. I think what they got to do is, obviously Nintendo's Nintendo, and they'll charge $60 for a 2D side scroller.
And they charge $60 5 years later.
What they should be doing is making a game, downloadable game like Strider, $15 at most. Make it a $15 downloadable 2D side scroller, and just go back to its roots, because those games are still, there is still an audience for those type of games. It's not a huge audience. It's not going to sell bazillions.
But with the production costs, are extremely low.
Yeah.
They don't really have to worry about it selling too hot like pancakes,
Yeah.
I can agree with that. Because the whole Metroidvania genre is very, it's like a cult following.
Yeah.
And it's surprising that one of the games that makes up that genre, it's even in the name of the genre, is just kind of fallen off the map and hasn't really seen anything.
This is Castlevania.
Yeah.
And they should
Lords
also
of Shadow games were very not with that formula.
They should also release it on Steam. That would be a great idea.
But it's Nintendo.
Jeez. Anyway, I wanted to say Resident Evil, and I was thinking, of course, my gut reaction, because of how much I was infatuated with the Outbreak series, I wanted to say go back to that type of style, like the really old Resident Evil style. But I don't think that would fly anymore. So I revised. Actually, no, never mind. You guys have to go first. I'm not going to say.
As far as, Resident Evil has kicked itself and beat itself to the ground, going all over the place, from having action in Resident Evil 6 to having a rail shooter.
They had a rail shooter in PS1 though.
Yeah, they had a rail shooter in PS1 and Wii, and probably PS3 and whatever. It's been all over the place. I think what people really want is a game in which you're playing as someone who's in trouble, not some big beefy American dude who's gonna punch a boulder with his fists.
You gotta push A once time.
Uppercut the boulder until it gets knocked into the lava. What I think what people really want from Resident Evil is someone who's weak and vulnerable and limited on resources as far as your weapons and whatever, and just go back to the roots of survival horror.
Yeah, because they took out that whole, honestly, the horror aspect. Because you still have to survive things, but the thing that made it survival horror is that not only are these things killing you or trying to kill you,
You're interrupting Kevin.
Oh,
Kevin,
sorry,
I
go
wasn't
ahead.
gonna say anything. I was just agreeing. I was gonna wait till.
Well, you were supposed to go before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, the last one I think I played was the one that was on 3DS.
or Revelations, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, I can see that the whole horror aspect is kind of just gone. It's become more action oriented, more fast paced. I mean, one thing that I think they could do is, take some pointers from Dead Space, make it, more claustrophobic in a way.
Yes.
More, tight action, something that,
Mhm.
more things that are, that are really scary, like, something that just, is laying there and then
Take out
there was a-
co-op.
Yeah, take out co-op.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, like they should take some pointers from Dead Space.
That's yes, I agree. Dead Space 1 specifically.
Yeah.
The you have limited supplies. You have, as you said, this like claustrophobic, these tight spaces limiting you, and that's the thing about horror.
Yeah, it
You're
needs more of
limited.
like this like the sense of urgency is
Like,
what's missing.
When people have terrifying nightmares, you have that big thing chasing you, or whatever threat is coming after you, and you feel like you're in like molasses.
Yeah.
You're limited. You're physically limited. And I was thinking, those original tank controls from like Resident Evil 1 through Outbreak 2, I thought, that would really bring that back. But, I had to revise that because I don't think anyone would want that. So if we go back to Resident Evil 4, and you don't even have to go to that limiting control scheme, as long as you have the character and movements feel weighted, intentionally introduce latency, or not necessarily latency, but animation where your cursor or reticle is tied to the animation, so you can't just quickly turn, and blast something. But it's all about limiting the player, and what they could do, because when you do that, that is where the real horror comes in. It's not the thing going boogity boogity boogity.
You know what would be real horror? Working at Walmart.
You would know that, right?
Yes. I've been having a lot of dreams lately.
About Walmart?
Yeah,
Working there again.
About working at Walmart again.
Those are terrifying.
It is. Like the same people are there. Same coworkers.
Oh man.
Okay, who's going next?
I'm going next.
Yeah.
Another game from the 90s, or at least got big in the 90s, and then like tried to come back recently, and it kind of failed. 007.
When did it try to come back recently?
Activision made that Golden
that Wii game,
Call of Duty GoldenEye.
That
game.
Wii game, right? Yeah. I guess that was recent. What was that, 2000?
It was sometime within the past 4 years.
Oh, okay, man. I forgot about that. Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
007.
I don't really need to say much more about that. What do you guys think? What do you think would make 007 relevant again?
Well, one thing that seems to be an issue is a lot of the 007 games have always been based off of a movie of someone, like one of those, and unfortunately, the recent 007 games from the new trilogy they haven't really seemed to catch on very well.
Yeah,
personally, I think
I feel like if they go to a more spy style,
but see, that's the issue, is that the movies have gone away from that too.
That's the thing.
Movies have,
like, I finally watched Skyfall the other day, and I was like,
it's not James Bond anymore.
I was like, where's the spy part?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, the movie ended, and I said, where's the spy part? You know,
that's the issue, is that the franchise as a whole has shifted away from stealth. It shifted away from, because I remember playing Nightfire, I think, on the GameCube. That was a really good one. It was one of my favorites, because like you're infiltrating like this. I remember like the first, like the major part was like you're infiltrating a party, and then you you get into the party and he goes out of his agent suit. And he has like an actual suit on, so he blends in with the party. He has to do some things, find something. Like that's the thing that's missing is not just not Sam Fisher style stealth, but blend in with everything else type of stealth. Not
necessarily Hitman either.
Right.
Hitman's kind of.
I mean, not like always in the shadows type of thing, but something where you're like, James Bond is that type of spy.
It's the perfect blend of action and stealth.
Mm-hmm.
And even GoldenEye 007 really had this, because like I remember, I forget which level it is. You're in like the jail cell and like I don't have anything, and then you go aha, and then you equip your watch and you start lasering it was like the lock or something, I forget, or the bars itself, and you escape from and it's really cool, like, but you also have the moments where you're running around, the alarms going wee, and you're like blasting everything, and
people with big heads,
and you're shooting chairs and they're exploding because exploding
and
chairs,
shooting staples, for clobs. It's clobbering time. No, it was like
no, the clobs were fully automatic.
The clob sounded like a staple gun.
Oh, well, it's fully automatic though. Anyway, but Nightfire was really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it
should be less of an action shooter game and more need to reintroduce the stealth mechanics where it's not just hiding in shadows, but blending in, like attending a party and trying to figure out the details, like trying to get information, because that's that was what the old James Bond movies were all about. Was
it's all about feeling awesome.
Yeah,
and like going around, let's say a party, and finding out this information, and then later riding on a motorcycle, while you're being shot at, and then later on, sneaking through this facility, you feel awesome.
And unfortunately, the movies have moved away from that.
They moved to all shoot
bang,
and
bang.
now it's like the part in Inception where it turns into the snow level of GoldenEye.
Yeah, the snow. It really did.
Yeah.
So is that you guys' answer?
Yeah.
Well, my answer would be similar to yours. It's the have you played in Mass Effect 2 the Kasumi Memory DLC?
No, I haven't.
You haven't played the Kasumi Memory?
I
think it was called Kasumi Memory. Have you played it?
No, that was part of you got that as a pre-order DLC, didn't you?
I don't think it's pre-order DLC. It was actual DLC pack that you had to pay for.
No, I didn't get any of the DLC.
It was Kasumi was the thief. You didn't. Okay, so
I know of it. I've never played it.
So like basically her DLC is basically all that stuff that you described, where you go into a party, you're dressed up in your futuristic,
suit and tie.
Futuristic suit and tie. You go to the party and you basically like try to sneak around, like in the open. Like, okay, I'm going to figure out where this security, the wire for this the door, where it leads to, and then I can hack into that part and try to distract these people, and now that I'm in the office, try to create some kind of diversion to get everybody out of here and stuff like that. And it was basically a James Bond movie.
Yeah.
Nice. Like it was
an older James Bond movie.
Yeah, I mean, like it felt different from the rest of Mass Effect. Like this level was a James Bond movie, and it was really cool. And if a whole game is like that, that would it would have the vibe of James Bond.
Yeah.
And just Sean Connery, whatever.
Yeah, we need him back.
Have him do the voice.
That would be wonderful.
So yeah, that's my answer. Cool.
Tony Hawk, but I don't know. I feel like extreme sports is dead though. Like I was gonna buy Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 like HD, but like the reviews said like the controls weren't the same. it was like 30 FPS, and like there's latency, and like even the trick mechanics were slightly changed, and like the landing and all that stuff. And it's just like I like that. It was an arcadey type game, and even like the Tony Hawk Underground that came out later, it was really cool. And I remember a lot of people played this game. You're set up in this like openish world level. You could go around and do different objectives, and it had like a story mode too. And a lot of people will say they'll have a topic like video game villain that made you the most mad,
biggest douchebag in video games.
Biggest douchebag, and it had a picture of that one guy, the very first guy
from Underground.
Yeah, from Underground. And like it's just that was just a really well made game in general. But like
what they gotta do to revive it is make this big open world where the physics is so messed up that you go through stuff just like in Skate 3.
So Skate 3?
Yes.
Just make another Skate.
It's okay. We'll just see pre-alpha, incomplete finished version.
It's better than the finished one.
Yeah.
I really don't have an answer because I'm not into skating.
Yeah,
games.
same here. The only Tony Hawk or any skating game I ever played was on the PS1, and I can't remember which one that was.
Yeah, so you got the floor on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried with Mario, and but I can't try with this.
I think Skate had a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, their trick mechanics were different, so it's not as arcadey. It's more simulation, I guess, because you had to like move the analog sticks, like flick it right, then slide it up, and that was like, I don't know, a kickflip or something. But they had this like open area idea with a lot of objectives. But I don't think open world is exactly what they need, unless that environment itself can encompass a large enough variety. And that's one thing that I think Tony Hawk had nailed down. They had, I mean, even in the older ones, they had so many different like levels and different things where, let's say in Tony Hawk Pro Skater, I'll use 2, they had like the schoolyard, you grinding on picnic tables, and they had like those like stairwells and stuff like that. And then they had like the hangar level, which was more flat, but the walls had, more vert ramp type things. In Tony Hawk Underground, they had different environments where, let's say, your neighborhood that you start in has, you're in like Philadelphia or something like that, and like there's a lot of like road construction, and you could grind, like the sidewalk is open because they're putting down new pipes, and you could grind on those pipes or whatever. And like you find a lot of different things that made these levels unique. And I think instead of just making a big area, which I think, I mentioned in racing games, I think they should make more tailor-made areas and focus the gameplay around that.
Cool.
Skate 3.
Yep. Skate 3.
Yeah, I mean, like I can't try with this one.
Yeah.
I tried with Mario. I tried with Resident Evil. You're asking me too much. These games I don't have experience with. Your turn?
Sure. It's a relatively recent game.
And it's already dead?
Yeah, I think so. And I don't know if you will agree. I think you might. Titanfall.
All right, we can have a conversation on this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, like, one, it needs a single player. That's really important because it has some really cool mechanics, but not everyone is into multiplayer. You know, there are people who want to enjoy a single player game with all these cool mechanics like the jetpacks, the Titans, and all that.
They shouldn't charge $50 for a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
But
shouldn't be 60 megabytes either. Sorry, gigabytes.
Yeah,
60 megabytes.
That's what
smallest game ever.
You know what I meant. 60 gigabytes.
But yeah, like I think single player would be a huge help. I mean, that's probably something they're considering for Titanfall 2. I mean, everyone knows it's coming, but I think they should work with some platforming as well, because stick with me for a second. I mean,
and the single player,
guys, yeah. I mean, you guys have played Titanfall.
Yeah.
Every single one of us has.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it feels awesome. It's that awesome feeling of hopping around the map, you know, finding that one spot to that next spot.
Yeah.
And working your way like, oh, there's another place, and just like boost, you know, and then wall run, and then jump and boost, and you know, I think they should add that type of stuff. And I mean,
it's just a really cool experience when you're wall running, and then you jump to another wall and run some more, and then you're going back and forth, and you never touch the ground for so long, and it's something that they didn't take advantage of as far as making like a single player experience.
They need more levels too.
Yeah,
more levels, more weapons, more mechs. I think that's one thing that, I mean, a lot of, I mean, it reviewed really well, but it died very quickly because it lacked content.
The campaign is stupid.
The campaign is multiplayer
because
with voiceovers.
Like, it's stupid because win or lose, you progress.
Yeah.
If you're on the losing team, you still progress.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
It is literally multiplayer mode with voiceovers.
Like, okay, like there are people who argue that like Beyond Two Souls is not a game because like if you you progress no matter what, but like if you do poorly, at least things will like change, or at least it will show that you did it poorly. You know, like the present that you did it poorly, and you know the story will it would make sense.
Yeah.
Okay. It adjusts to what's going on.
In
Titanfall, it's not.
We lost. We got to try harder next time.
Yeah, and then you go to the next level. Like, okay,
and then you try it again as the other side when you complete all the missions as one side.
So Kevin,
yeah, okay. So I definitely agree with everything that both of you have said. They definitely needed, you know, a single player campaign that with a good story, because I thought the shooting mechanics were really fun. I mean, they're experienced with, you know, making for FPSs, and they did a good job with, you know, implementing the first person combat with, you know, the wall jumping and the jetpacks and the Titans and everything. Just, it felt good. My one problem with it, though, as far as the multiplayer goes, is I know they've you know, touched on this, and they've, you know, defended themselves, and they've given the reasons why, but I still think that their player count was too small, and the maps are way too small.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you're working with Titans, there were the maps that, like, the ones that we played, that when you and I played stuff, like, I could remember there were a lot of times when, like, it was so limited because the way that they had designed the maps was just, in my opinion, terrible. The maps were absolutely terrible. There was no map that I enjoyed fully, except maybe parts of that outdoor area map, like with the jungle that kind of went in the background. It was like one of the 2 or 3 maps.
I liked the one with the buildings more.
Well, see, my issue with...
Because the traversal.
Yeah, because like the wall running and all that. But yeah, when you got into the Titans, it did feel claustrophobic.
Yeah, and the problem with that is they had clear areas that the Titans could be in. There's nothing, like, you know where a Titan is going to be or where they can be, because it's either just a bigger street or there's gap in between the buildings. But there's like in the center of the map, it's always going to be just the players because those are tight close quarters inside buildings. But then the outside rim area will be all the Titans, and that was, I think, a fundamental flaw is that they limited like the level design so poorly that there was no variety in the whole thing. It was just Titans are here, people are here, and that's it. Like if you have a Titan, you have to go out to the Titan area. If you're not in a Titan, you want to come back in, otherwise you're going to get stomped on by a Titan. And so that kind of
face is going to get stomped on by a Titan.
Yeah, basically.
To expand, I agree completely, but that game suffers. I mean, they are the same developers essentially, but the levels suffer from Call of Duty syndrome.
Yes.
And when I say that, they are tight, confined maps with stuff just placed everywhere.
Yeah.
And there's very little rhyme or reason to where things are placed. And I know what level exactly you're talking about. I mean, a lot of them have buildings. A lot of maps have buildings, but I know which one you're talking about because...
well, there's only 2 of them in that beta that we were playing.
Yeah, because you're able to traverse as a player really well, and you could see like all these different graded areas, like the fenced areas where you could kind of run on and that sort of thing, and that's clearly defined. But other levels, it's just all kind of thrown about, it feels like, and you're trying to like, oh, I want to wall run from this place and jump from this place to this place, and like, oh, that doesn't work, and then you kind of look
like
at
if only this was shifted 3 more feet, I would have made a perfect wall run from this to that.
And then I mean, like you look at all these different spots and like, a lot of this doesn't work. Like where does this connect to? It's kind of like it's kind of just jumping off points to just land and run some more.
Yeah.
And so that the level design needs to be thought out a lot better. But I also think Titans should be able to traverse on top of buildings.
That and maybe even destroy buildings if they had implemented some kind of destruction like the Frostbite engine is for Battlefield. Make it so that the Titans can shoot down those buildings because they're big enough. They shouldn't have an issue.
It's still a very arcade style game. I don't think building destruction would fit with that, but I think slow traversal, like let's say their leg, they have to like mount their leg on top of like this part of the building and like work their way up, and instead of just like jump up onto it or jet onto it, they have to like kind of work their way up, so it'll limit their movement speed, but they could still traverse over things.
I mean, I can see the arcadey aspect of it, but I still think, in my opinion, like with the mechanics that they've implemented, if there was some kind of dynamically changing environment, it would change how even the non-Titans were playing.
Yeah.
Like just the standard pilots as they were running around, because now, a lot of the places that they could wall jump or, wall run, and jetpack through are either not there or they've got new obstacles that are there.
The thing is,
I think what this game really needs is the nemesis system. So when you come across someone again,
Oi, he's riding a Titan. I'm quaking in me boots.
and he's jumping on your back and he just comes off.
Winner idea.
Nemesis system for all games ever.
But my
fixed all games.
But the idea I had thinking in my head, well, one, if you destroy buildings, that destroys the maneuverability of the soldiers, and that I believe that I feel that would make the balance, that would throw off the balance. But I was also thinking like they're able to traverse the buildings. Let's say there's a cluster of buildings and there's a lot of tight alleyways where players could run into and jump into windows into different buildings, and let's say they're running through the building and jumping through the window, like from alley to jumping over the alleyway from one window to the other, and they look up and they see this like Titan like peering down at them trying to blast them,
so you shouldn't face up.
Oh, sorry.
Top of the mic at the same time.
Sorry, I'm just being animated. But yeah, just like this person looks up and they see this this Titan on top of a building trying to chase this person down. But of course, they'd have to limit the mobility and stuff of the Titans and how they could do that, or maybe introduce a new, a newer class of Titans that are smaller, weaker, but they could traverse things better. So
that'd be interesting. Yeah, I definitely like that idea of different classes that are different sizes. I mean, they had the one that you had gotten for a while.
Yeah, well, I mean, they do have different classes of Titans in the full game. Like they have the Strider Titan and the big fat Titan.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing for me was level design just was not engaging, and it just wasn't very well thought out in my opinion. But definitely a single player experience that was actually a single player, like a campaign for single player.
So last one for you, Stefan?
Yeah, my last one is Legacy of Kain. The franchise started off very Zelda-esque. Like, in fact, the very first Legacy of Kain was pretty much like the 2D Zeldas, just a lot more gory and mature, and even like Soul Reaver was like a 3D Zelda. It had a lot of puzzle solving,
upgrades and backtracking.
Yeah, you had to like shift this block and to push on top of this button so that it can open a door or whatever, and then like eventually the last one was like a wannabe Devil May Cry. It wasn't a very good wannabe Devil May Cry either. It was a bad attempt at it. So it kind of it definitely died off, but like not even on a good note. It died off on a poor note. So it's a series that I would like to see come back.
I can't really comment too much on it because I have never played it, but it seems like an interesting concept. A more mature Legend of Zelda game, at least in the beginning, how it started off with. But yeah, I don't think I can really say much about it.
I remember you had a couple of them, and I played Soul Reaver, and I played was it like Legacy of Kain like 2 or something like that?
Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen.
Blood Omen, that's what it was.
Blood Omen 2.
Yeah. And I don't really remember those too well. But it would be nice to see a reboot. I'm just not sure how they would reboot it. I mean, I personally, I played Blood Omen and Soul Reaver, but I preferred Soul Reaver because that was more, as you said, like Legend of Zelda style. In fact, I think wasn't there a lock-on system for fighting?
In which game?
Soul Reaver.
Soul Reaver? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it even had that Z-Lock type gameplay, but I would just kind of stick with the formula. I mean, I guess the reason why it didn't do well maybe is because just the time period it came out. There was a lot of other competing games at the time. I don't know.
Soul Reaver did well. A lot of people really like Soul Reaver. I think Soul Reaver was probably the best selling of the whole Legacy of Kain series.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure how much they sold, but I thought it was a good game. I really liked the whole shift between worlds for the puzzle aspect. I think the combat could have been better. I mean, they could update the combat to, let's say, actually no, not Batman style. Maybe more
Sleeping Dog style. Because that's a big difference.
Yeah. I was thinking more like Assassin's Creed, like Assassin's Creed 2. You've got like a parry system type, and you have to be more meticulous with your combat because you kind of had to be that way in Soul Reaver, if I recall correctly, that is. But I don't know. Okay. I didn't play that game that much.
So you guys both gave your answers?
Yeah.
Okay, like I don't think, as far as the combat goes, first of all, I think they should definitely go back to the whole focusing more on puzzle solving, similar to Zelda.
Yeah.
Don't try to make it Devil May Cry.
Yep.
I don't think Assassin's Creed style combat would fit it either. Because one thing that about the all of the games, the whole Legacy of Kain games, is that they were more focused on a few enemies, and it was more on not more on. It was more focused on like really gory like fatalities. Like in Soul Reaver, you'd have like these big rusty hooks sticking out of hanging on the walls, and you could pick up a dude and then throw him onto the hook.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that.
And it was just these bloody deaths. I mean, they probably look tame today, but at the time it was just
But the hand-to-hand combat seems, I don't know.
The hand-to-hand combat was like they focused really hard on it with oh god, that sounded bad too. they focused a lot on it in Blood Omen 2, Legacy of Kain, and it was a bad I mean, like it was more combat heavy than platforming and puzzle heavy, and it was not very good combat. It was like very stiff and not so
It was
fun.
like bad hack and slash.
It was like every fight was like this really bad Mike Tyson's Punch Out. it was a struggle. So I if it was more like the 2008 Prince of Persia game, because that 2008 Prince of Persia game, every fight was basically 1-on-1. Well, technically 2-on-1 because you had that princess with you, but you know what I mean. It was you versus one. It was you versus one enemy. Like you never fought two enemies in Prince of Persia, and I think like that might work, or if they were just basic enemies like Zelda type enemies,
I think where we're at technologically, I think it'd be nice to revive that type of like lore and gameplay environment, because like the art style was very very interesting. I don't know what
very macabre.
Yeah, I mean I'm not really sure how I'd
one thing that really shined about this series was the lore and the voice acting, because the voice acting they had like Simon Templeman doing the voice acting for Kain.
What was he also known for?
What did he do? Lunatics Unleashed, Tailspin.
Go to television.
Television. Okay. The Neighbors 24. He was in 24, season 3. Touched by an Angel.
1 hour.
Go video games.
Video games. I mean, Legacy of Kain. He was in Jade Empire.
2.
Oh, he was
Fable 2, Uncharted 2,
God of War, Dragon Age.
Huh.
Uncharted.
I didn't know he was in Uncharted.
Star Wars.
I guess that makes sense because Amy Hennig was in charge of the old Soul Reaver games, and she
Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen.
That's right. And she went. She was in charge of Legacy of Kain, and she went to Naughty Dog, so I guess it makes sense that he also went over there and did some games there too.
Well, it's not like he works for them. Like,
but a lot of people like to work together though.
Yeah, but I mean, like he did an outstanding performance as Kain. Just this really deep, dark voice that just sounded very evil. And the dude who did the voice for Raziel. What was his name? Michael Bell.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Bay. Explosions everywhere.
Michael Bell also, he did a pretty good job too. In Rugrats. That's what it says right here, Rugrats. So, you know, I think that was one of the strong points of Legacy of Kain. So, you know, focus on story, focus on, you know, using, you know, taking advantage of the voice acting. But you know, go back to the Zelda style, you know, focusing on platforming and puzzles.
Someone's got to make Zelda games, right?
Yeah, someone's got to do it.
Okay. So are we done with this topic?
Homie, don't play. Yeah, let's move on. I mean, like, you know, this was supposed to be a fun conversation. And you know, hopefully the listeners had some fun with it. And hey, fun. Listeners, if you have a franchise that's, you know, that's dead and, you know, you think can be revived, how do you think you know, let us know how you think that franchise can be revived, or, you know, if you want to suggest more to us,
or add to
add to the list, you know, let us know. Or if you have any other topic suggestions, just let us know. podcast@continues.com. So let's move on to news, and I'm going to get the news up on the screen in a few seconds here. Once I click it, there we go. Share. All right. Now that I'm no longer on the camera, I can take my clothes off.
Please don't.
Too late. Ooh. All right. So, we have Kingdom Hearts 3 switched over to Unreal Engine 4 recently due to rendering difficulties. And basically, this quote that we have here from one of the dudes working on the game is due to the impact of changing the game engine to Unreal Engine 4, which we did for various reasons, there is some difficulty rendering images. And with the full support of Epic Games, we'll be able to progress smoothly.
Yeah.
So, like, there are several things to note here. One, that Square Enix of Japan is working with Unreal Engine 4, which is, that on its own is worth mentioning because they usually use their own in-house engine.
Most companies do these days.
Yeah.
But there's one of my friends, he posted this on Facebook the other day. He was like, Kingdom Hearts 3 switched Unreal Engine 4 development because of reasons. And I was like, well, I mean, they're working on the, what they call them, the Crystal Engine tools or something like that.
I don't know.
That's what they're working on right now for Final Fantasy 15.
Oh, right.
Is that the same one where they showed off on E3 several years ago?
Yes, and then they showed it off again.
With
PS4.
With like those Karagor looking things with the spice coming out of them, and the chick that started doing a spell.
Yeah, started summoning something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Bahamut, it looked like. Yeah. Yeah, that was that engine.
Uh-huh.
So they're still developing that engine and working on it, and they're using it mainly for development right now for Final Fantasy 15.
Mm-hmm.
But the
Final
thing
Fantasy
is,
Road Trip.
Yes, Final Fantasy Road Trip Edition. But the thing is, Square Enix has that means at least one big budget game is using that engine.
Yeah.
And because because the development of the game Final Fantasy 15 and the engine kind of coexist together, it's kind of hard to have another project use that same engine. So if they switch to an outside engine, which someone else is working on and developing and that sort of thing and getting documentation for themselves, you know, if they just get an engine that's already established or is becoming established, they could, you know, switch to that engine.
They're not really focused on making sure their engine works. They can spend more time on the creative aspects and just make sure the game is fun rather than functional.
Yep.
Because it'll already be functional because it's already being supported by, I mean, Unreal Engine has been pretty popular for a very long time. So
yes,
they're not going wrong with making that decision.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Good. You know, it'd be awesome if they switched over again to Unity.
Well, it depends on what, you know, they want to do. If they were,
hey, stop taking my joke seriously. Stop. Just just laugh and move on. Move on.
Next.
Next. All right. So, Samus armor is coming to Monster Hunter 4G, not the 3G version, but the 4G version. So make sure
Will it work on LTE?
Yeah.
They just gave us.
It's better than LTE.
Does AT&T support it or T-Mobile?
It only uses Sprint towers.
So it's CDMA.
I'm guessing you put the story down because before we discussed Nintendo, like basically putting their name and characters
like
and everything.
they're basically licensing out their IPs now, and we already discussed previously on older episodes of the podcast that Monster Hunter was getting basically a Link getup. You could dress up your character as Link. Now it's Samus too, and this is it's looking worse and worse as far as under Nintendo looking desperate, because it made a little sense with Link
because it fits the theme.
Yeah, but
Samus like a futuristic type that doesn't really fit.
What's happening?
Well, didn't they do that? Like with EA, they did the
no.
Well, they did
no.
You don't know what he's talking about.
The Mass Effect armor for Kingdoms of Amalur and vice versa. So I mean, it depends on how they style it. They could make it work, but
this strip looks like Samus.
Yeah, that's going to be an issue.
And you have like this giant cannon
blaster. Yeah.
Is there an image here? No.
Yeah, but
play the video.
It looks like it's basically I guess the large. There we go.
There we go. Like that dumb cannon.
Oh,
what?
I mean,
that's actually kind of cool.
But there are weapons like that in Monster Hunter, but I don't know. It's just weird to see it. It doesn't fit thematically. Like they didn't edit it at all to really fit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that does look cool, though. I won't deny it looks cool. I want that thing strapped to my arm all day long.
All right, so another Nintendo-related news article is the GameCube adapter for the Wii U that allows you to plug in 4 GameCube controllers to your Wii U. It only works with Super Smash Brothers.
I don't see the point of that. Why limit you so strictly?
It does not work on the Wii. It does not work with other games. It only works on the Wii U with Super Smash Bros.
Well, it wouldn't need to work with the Wii because the Wii already has built-in GameCube controller ports on it.
But
I'm just saying that they're.
But
you buy this thing.
The Wii U doesn't have.
It doesn't have any GameCube ports.
Yeah, it doesn't have GameCube ports like the Wii did.
Correct.
So you wouldn't be able to use the GameCube controller regardless.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're going to release this, what they should do is. I can almost guarantee that all hardcore Smash Brothers players are going to want to use their GameCube controllers. So that means they're going to spend 50.
But
yeah, they're going to spend $50 or $60 on the game, and then another 30 or something on the adapter.
This is another situation where Nintendo releases 1 million adapters for things.
Yeah,
for people
like
to buy.
my main thing with this article is that Nintendo has like no like consistency as far as using peripherals on games. Like there's no unification.
Yep.
And there's a gazillion peripherals for the Wii and the Wii U. You have like a billion different types of controllers. You have the regular Wii controller, the Wii Plus, Wii Motion Plus. You got the Pro controller, the whatever
the steering wheel attachment.
Yeah,
the Wii had the Wiimote Plus, the Wiimote with the Wiimote Plus in it. It had the Classic, then the Classic Pro controller.
Yeah.
And that's just the controllers itself.
Yeah, I mean, and then you got like
all the attachments and things.
You have like, I mean, this is worse than Rock Band. You have so much junk. I mean, I can only imagine if for a Wii U owner, you probably own more peripherals than you have games.
Probably. I think, what they should just have done was maybe,
why can't they map the controllers to
Why couldn't they just make one good controller and just stick with that?
What they could do is even then I know it's not any better than what this is doing, but make a wireless GameCube controller that's compatible with Wii U. But the thing that really bothers me about this is that it's only being supported for Smash Brothers and no other game. No other developer is going to make use of this. So people are going to spend. The only people who are going to buy this adapter who are the people who are serious about Super Smash Bros.
Well, the drivers are probably only accessible to Nintendo, and that's why they need to make the driver, manage on an OS level so it can work with every game. Yeah. They need to. I mean, I know it does not have the same amount of buttons as a Wii U Pro controller, but they can map all the buttons that do exist.
Right.
And why can't they do that? I don't know.
It's insane.
It is insane.
It's not madness. It's not even Sparta. This is Nintendo. Remember me?
Yep. Yes, I do.
Oh man.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Little Big Planet 3. Why were we talking about Little Big Planet 3?
Why?
Yeah, because of Dr. House, right?
Yeah, Hugh Lowry is he's going to be. I don't know if he is the voice or he might be. I don't. He's a voice.
He has this light bulb with an egg timer on his head.
Yes, that is an egg timer, in fact. But I don't know. I think they already have I forget who does the voice in Little Big Planet, but Little Big Planet, the guy. I don't remember his name, but sure. I think adding more British people, especially Hugh Lowry, he's a really good voice actor and actor in general. So I think it'll be. I don't know. That game has charm. I really like Little Big Planet 1 and 2, and I play it with my wife all the time. And
I like Toggle because he looks goofy when he's fat.
Does look goofy.
He looks like Grimace.
He does.
All right. So that's it? That's all you had on that?
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
I'm excited.
Another page that doesn't load until I move my mouse over it. Microsoft sells 100,000 Xbox Ones in China.
Yes. I think that's pretty good. That's a good start.
Yeah, I know it's not doing as well, either in like China or Japan as it is here, but I think that's just really the culture of them, like of those countries and those
I mean, I don't think they've mentioned any more recent figures, but it's nice to see that there at least is a market in China, because this is the first time a console just a console in general has launched in China.
Yeah. I
mean, they've had games in China for a while, but a lot of it has been on the black market.
Right.
So having, Xbox do, I think, relatively well this is not across all of China. This is in the free trade zone area of China.
Yeah.
So, I think that's pretty well. That was for its essentially its launch. I don't know if that includes the first month.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the time frame is for that either.
All right. The next article, hold on, I'm pulling it up right now because the videogamer.com isn't working. Here we go. Pulling this up, showing it on the screen. Bam. Close that out. Close this. That's not working. All right, and this probably going to video. There we go. Stop that video.
I don't know why IGN has those auto-playing videos. They need to stop that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they want me to log in. And I told you no. God. There we go.
This is very annoying.
All right. So, Assassin's Creed Unity is locked at 900p for both Xbone and PS4.
I figured out why they called it Unity, because they're unifying the experience across both platforms.
I thought it was because they're using the Unity engine.
Did they have that quote on there? Where's the quote on there?
Well, I have the quote on the outline.
Oh.
So let me. Okay, the quote I have: "We decided to lock them at the same specs to avoid all the debates and stuff." That
quote
was
for quote. That is verbatim.
Yes, that is the exact quote by senior
Yeah.
producer Vincent.
Punch Brand.
Debates
Yeah,
and stuff.
He told that to videogamer.com. Let me say that again. We decided to lock them at the same specs to avoid all the debates and stuff.
I just love that he says debates and
And
stuff.
stuff.
Like, could you not come with something like another word that was more descriptive than stuff?
So basically, because the Xbox One version was going to essentially be worse than the PS4 version, they locked the frame rate and made the resolution smaller on the PS4 version, just so there won't be any comparisons and debates and stuff.
See, I think that in itself is kind of going against why we have console competition in the first place.
Yeah.
The reason we have multiple choices is because they're different.
Yes.
And if you start having more parity between consoles, then what's the point of having multiple consoles and choices? Why
Yeah.
not just pick one if everything's going to be the same?
this
The only
is-
reason now is the exclusives, which, to be honest, there really aren't many.
This
Yeah,
is
not
like
really.
the same problem that a few AAA games get on PC, in which, for whatever reason, the PC version doesn't go up to 1080p 60 frames per second because of the fact that the developer has locked it.
Ubisoft, you mean?
Yeah.
Ubisoft games. And then Dark Souls.
Yeah, Dark Souls was just a terrible port. At least it got fixed, and then they learned their mistake. Learned from their
It got
mistake.
fixed
and
by
they-
fans.
And then they realized their mistakes, and then in the second game they made sure that it was better. So I mean, it wasn't so much of a we're going to keep it the same just for the sake of keeping it the same. It was we're going to keep it this way because they probably just they just didn't have the
This is just sad.
knowledge maybe to do that. But
Mhm.
I am disappointed.
yeah, like this is
That's typical Ubisoft.
yeah.
I feel like people shouldn't expect any better from them at this point.
Honestly, I as much as it I hate saying this, I just don't I don't know. I've been a huge Assassin's Creed fan since the very first game.
Yeah.
I've played pretty much all of them except for the DS and the mobile spin-offs. But what they're doing now with these, with Unity, and especially their mentality on this, plus the fact how they treated Watch Dogs, I just don't want to support Ubisoft anymore, and it sucks because I really want to play. I want to continue playing Assassin's Creed games.
It's annoying because they said they would. I mean, they're still working on Watch Dogs for Wii U, and they said they actually want to make a good port and that sort of thing.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, we
they're
respect
trying
PC
really
games.
hard. They're supposedly trying hard for a fan base that certainly won't buy that game. But when it comes to markets and platforms that will buy their games, it's like, oh, yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
Here's this thing.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
like,
Ubisoft just a few months ago, one of their executives was like, yeah, we think PC gaming is very important, and it's important to us that PC
They don't
gamers are
show
happy,
it.
and that we're gonna do everything we can to ensure that PC gaming is we're utilizing
show-
the power of PC gaming.
they haven't showed it in the past
And
decade.
then Watch Dogs comes out, and they have hidden code that's not unactivated code for different shaders,
E3
different
settings.
Yeah, all the E3 beautiful stuff. They should really just they really just turned off everything that made the game,
That game-
worth looking into.
Mhm.
And they're like, no, we're just going to turn that off because we just want to make sure that it's the same across all experiences, all platforms. That upsets me because that just it doesn't help anyone in any situation. There's no good reason to do that other than your fans will maybe get upset about one version being better than the other, but that's not the developer's fault. That's the choice of the gamer for picking whichever platform they went with. That's not something that Ubisoft should be controlling. That's something that Microsoft and Sony should be worrying about.
Yeah.
And making sure their consoles are able to perform
Yeah.
well. But then Ubisoft should be, or any developer
They should be looking
maximize
at the interest of the consumer, which is maximizing the best as they can.
best experiences on all the platforms, not same experience on
Yeah.
all the platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
That's right.
moving on.
And that links to our final.
Well, it doesn't necessarily.
It
It's
does.
sorta
It,
does.
it
Similar,
links.
but
It links to our final
similar issue, but-
article because this shows. Okay, basically, for the listeners, Halo 2 anniversary on the Master Chief Collection. The campaign doesn't quite reach 1080p. Instead, it is 1328 by 1080, which is like this random obscure number, which I'm assuming is 4:3 ratio. I think that's what I think it is.
It's closer to 4:3, but
It's 4:3, and it's going to end up being stretched out to 16:9, something like that.
It's probably still not quite 4:3 because 4:3, the closest one would probably be 1280 by 1024.
Yeah.
But it's still
It's a weird number.
It is weird. It's not a standard.
But basically, they
resolution at all.
have this 10-year-old game that they are unable to get to 1080p on the Xbox One.
And it's weird that it's just the campaign. Did they not say anything about multiplayer? Is
The
multiplayer going to be at
multiplayer is
full
full.
1080?
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense
Oh,
because
the
smaller
campaign
maps.
is larger maps.
The thing is that, I mean, they're it says they're running two like graphics engines and sound engines and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
and that
because
makes a little bit
and-
of sense.
but I don't know. They could probably optimize that stuff better.
10-year-old game though.
But it's
mean,
just a weird
10-year-old
resolution.
game on Xbox One.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's broke as a joke.
Well, I mean, like Ali said, they're
so
running
broke it can't even pay
two
attention.
engines at the same time.
Yeah.
But I am wondering, like, why didn't they just pick another 16:9 aspect ratio rather than going to this weird
It really is.
number? Because now something's gonna be stretched during the campaign,
Yeah.
and it's gonna not look at.
Because they would have to do. Apparently, there's some interesting stuff about the Xbox One scaler. One of the Titanfall developers or Respawn developers mentioned it. He actually made a couple posts on NeoGAF regarding in the thread about this topic. He said like the Xbox One scaler is like weird and well, he didn't say weird, but he said there was some like finicky aspects to it. So maybe it's better for them to do like a horizontal scaling as opposed to doing like a bicubic scaling. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with how the Xbox One calculates all that. I just really haven't looked into it too much. But I guess from both of these previous two articles, I think it's pretty clear the PS4 is the winner, and that's been
Xbox One, more like Xbox done.
PS4.
or Xbox none.
Best version of Master Chief Collection.
Exactly.
confirmed
That's the other thing.
on,
is
on the PS4.
why won't they just release it on PC?
I thought you were gonna say, why don't they just release it on PS4? Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, it's weird because I remember reading earlier today, Microsoft, I forgot, I think it was on The Verge or some other tech blog where Microsoft was like, yeah, PC gaming is very important to us, like everyone else has been saying, but it just doesn't show.
They won't develop for it, but they'll support other developers on the PC. I mean,
So let's wrap things up.
yep.
That's it for news. Let's go to listener feedback, which we don't have any. But if you want to write into the show, have your questions read on the show and have us answer it, or if you have any type of feedback, or even if you have suggestions on main topics, write it into podcast@adacontinues.com. It is totally free. I don't charge you anything. It's fun. Do it, homie. Let's wrap things up. Just want to give a shout out to Nathan Becker as usual. Nathan Becker, he wrote the intro song, and the outro song is also by him. It is going to be a song from the Beware the Bully soundtrack, and I will take that and insert it into the MP3. So if you're listening to the MP3, you heard the intro song, and you'll hear the outro song. If you're watching this on YouTube, sorry, go to the MP3. No music on YouTube. you get visuals on YouTube, you get music on MP3, so it balances out, right?
Well,
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So check out Nathan Becker. He is known as Ectogemia. You can find him at facebook.com/ectogemia, soundcloud.com/ectogemia. Ectogemia is spelled ECTOGEMIA. You guys have any shout outs or plugs?
Quick thing about Extra Life. For those of you who don't know, Extra Life is a 24-hour gaming charity event where we play the games for 24 hours and raise money for children's hospitals. It is coming up pretty close. October 25th is the actual date. So, look into it. If you're interested in participating, you can sign up. It's extra-life.org, completely free. If you're interested in donating, you can donate to the Indie Guild, which is our team, and share it with your friends and family. Make sure everyone knows about it because it's a great day for a great cause, and you get to do something that you enjoy. Playing games for 24 hours, nonstop.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Exactly. So yeah, it's coming up pretty soon. I think it's just over 2 weeks away. I think October 25th. It's on a Saturday.
Cool.
Do you have anything?
Nope.
I have a special message for that special lady in my life. Will you marry me? No? Okay. If you enjoy what you've been hearing, support us by liking us on Facebook, following us on Twitter, leave an iTunes review. You can contact by email. That's podcast@continues.com. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/outofcontinues. All these can be found on the website, www.outofcontinues.com. You can also give me a tweet. I am at Sayed Stafa. That's at SAYEDSTAFA. Kevin over here is
at KS Trehan. That's at KSTREHAN.
Ali is
I am at Phosphor112. That is PHOSPHOR112.
I would like to thank my guest host for joining me today, Kevin.
Thank you, Stafa.
Ali.
What's up?
Homie. With that said, I'm your host, Stafa. Peace out, everybody.
Peace out.
And together we form the Great Kali.